Hey you guys, welcome to my channel of being in the car, running errands with me, and seeing this big rug right here that I have to return. So we're gonna do a little like random video because I was just having a snack before I go run some errands and I was on the phone with a friend. We were talking and it got me thinking that I wanted her to understand what it means to not accept the bare minimum. Like, what does it mean to have really high standards? I also wanted to help her to not settle. And you can't not settle unless you've kind of worked on your self-esteem. For me, one of the first things that I noticed very early on when I was dating my now partner was he truly was not intimidated by me. So I'm talking to kind of like all my alpha females out there, all the women or men that have strong opinions, they know what they want, they know how they feel, like they have no problem articulating themselves, like they're very, I guess, I don't know, confident in themselves. And I always found throughout my years of dating that there were some people that felt very intimidated by that. So someone that didn't want me to really succeed, and I don't think they were doing it consciously, but I think that they were intimidated by just who I am. Someone who's not intimidated by you, someone who doesn't judge you for who you are and where you came from. The things that I had probably been a little embarrassed by or ashamed of in the past, having those kind of vulnerable conversations with people that I was starting to date or get to know or even was in relationships with, when you're with like a healthy person that is right for you and you know you're absolutely not settling, that person doesn't even blink an eye. All the things that you are like ashamed of or embarrassed about or whatever, they don't even blink an eye. And you know why? Because they have empathy. All the conversations that I didn't always want to have in the beginning of the relationship where it was like, hey, look, this is me, this is my situation, this is whatever. He wasn't ashamed of it. I was at that point, quite frankly, I wasn't really ashamed of it anymore either. I fully accepted who I was and my past and everything that I had been through and just who I am in general. I came from more self-love and self-acceptance in that regard. So I think that also helps you to not settle and to attract a really great person because I wasn't ashamed anymore either. I wasn't embarrassed. I was totally confident in who I was and proud of everything. I think the part that's even more powerful where it helps you to really connect with another person is that person's ability to be vulnerable with you and talk about their stuff. Someone who can talk about their stuff and have empathy for you, you will be able to emotionally connect. And when I look back on pretty much every single relationship that I had ever been in, that wasn't there. So I didn't always have a problem being vulnerable. I was ashamed at times or embarrassed by some of the things in my past, but I still allowed someone to come in. And I think what I noticed, and I didn't notice it at the time, was none of those men were able to let me in the same way. I never knew what was going on inside of them. I never knew their past and the things that they had struggled with or the things that they do struggle with. Like literally, there was no vulnerability in the relationship. It was just a surface level relationship. So right there, if you have a person that as you're getting to know them, you're being vulnerable, they're being vulnerable, they don't bat an eye when it comes to the stuff that you've been through and vice versa. All good. Like we're humans and we're friends now. I'm just talking about friendship at this point. Good, you're not settling. You actually have a healthy human being who can emotionally connect with you. When you are getting to know a person, I need you to first decide whether or not you actually respect who this person is. Do you wholeheartedly, as you're getting to know a person, you start to see their character and you start to see who they are and what they're about and what they value, all that stuff. Do you honestly respect them? Because here's the thing, if you don't respect them, then all you're going to do is you're going to start building resentment because you're not going to appreciate what they bring to the table. And look, everyone brings something to the table, but do you value what it is that they bring to the table and vice versa? I think it's just really important to be able to self-reflect on past relationships and why you were attracted to certain people and what it is that you wanted to get out of that relationship. Because the truth is that if you're wounded, you're looking to get something from that relationship. When you're healed, you get to know people and you you really take them at face value. Like there is no trying to fill a void here. You are just being very honest with who you are and what you want. And that's always where you're going to pick the healthiest partner for you. It's also where you're not going to second guess whether or not you actually are settling. The things that kind of just like stood out for me in terms of, okay, I think this person's right for me. And I'm really just content and happy in this relationship. And I feel fulfilled and we connect. It was just very different than I had experienced previously. And everyone is different with this, but for me, it was very easy. It was a very easy relationship. It wasn't anything that was very difficult. And now I don't mean easy, meaning that he didn't challenge me to like deal with my own stuff or acknowledge my own behaviors or things like that. That's not what I mean whatsoever. So easy should not be that it's so easy that I don't have to work on myself. No, that's not what I mean at all. And I don't know why every single time I have this conversation with a client, I always, if you watched Sex and the City back in the day, then you will know that one scene where Big is engaged to Natasha and he talks to Carrie outside like their engagement party. And what does he say to her? Because Carrie's like, why wasn't it me? Why wasn't it me? And the first thing that he says is, it was easy. She was easy. And usually if you're dealing with things like narcissistic abuse and you're dealing with a discard and stuff like that, that person's always going to jump ship and go to something easier. Someone that doesn't hold them accountable, doesn't make them responsible for, their actions or anything like that. There's no high standards there. They're just going to take the person at face value because they're wounded. So I'm not talking about easy like that. I'm talking about easy meaning it was immediately just a very comfortable relationship. As we were getting to know each other, I realized that he was okay with like telling me who he was and the things that he had struggled with, and there was no judgment on either point on either of us. Like it was just it was like we immediately were friends, whether you want to call it soulmates, whether you want to call it a twin flame, whatever you want to call it. But it was like I had already known him. I'll tell you, one of the very first times that I even realized that I was starting to actually even like feel love for this person was we went away for a weekend and it was in the summer and we were at the beach and we were sitting on a bench. We had just like gotten a drink somewhere at like one of those outdoor bars and we had some food and it was just like music was playing and it was like such a great environment. Summer, warm weather. I mean, my God, I wish I was there right now. Anyways, but we had our drinks and then we went for like a little walk on the beach and we just sat on a bench and we just sat there and we just didn't even talk, but we just watched everyone and we were like hugging and holding and touching and things like that. And I realized just how easy it was to just sit there and not talk and just be comfortable with each other. Again, looking back on other relationships, either the person would have been like, this is boring, I don't want to do this, like, let's go do something else. Like, probably I had a couple of FOMO men where it was just always trying to be the life of the party and always like, go, 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 which, whatever, totally fine. There are a lot of extroverts and I am one myself, but I'm also an introvert and I like peace and I like stillness, and finding someone that enjoyed that balance and valued those things. There you go. That's when I started to realize that, wow, I was content having fun and dancing and listening to the music and being at the beach bar. And I was also just as happy as just sitting on the bench, not talking. I will never, ever forget that moment because I definitely know that was the moment that I started to really fall in love with this person. And I started to understand just how happy it made me just to be and I didn't feel the need to entertain him. I didn't feel the need to like look a certain way. I was so content in my own skin, which that has so much to do with it. But I was just content in my own skin and it was just a very, I can't stress it enough. It was just a very easy relationship. It was a very easy, just immediate friends, got each other, valued the same things, enjoy the same things in life. And again, we're not identical, and even like communication, just when one of us was being defensive or the other one was shutting down, we held each other accountable for that. And both people were willing to say, yep, that's me. I own that. That's my stuff. There was just none of the BS stuff that I had ever been through. So easy, easy, easy. Your best friend. That's what you're looking for. This was the first time that I was in a relationship where I could call the person out, they could call me out, and there was literally There was no shutting down when you respect and value the person that you're with. So I had already done so much work on myself that even regardless of the respect and the value, that I was just not that person anymore. The communication piece, that has to happen. The only way good communication is going to happen is if the respect's there. And so because I respected him, because I respected the relationship and I really, really valued it, I didn't want to be defensive. I didn't want to ruin something. I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. Like, I didn't want to shut down. I didn't want to do all the things that maybe I had previously done in other relationships, and vice versa. I had someone now in my life that completely owned their stuff, and they weren't manipulating me. They weren't gaslighting me. They weren't making me feel like I was always the problem. They were 100% taking responsibility for how could I have done this better. So it wasn't even just about the times where maybe I was blatantly wrong. It was also about this person wanting to know more or learning more about themselves to even go deeper to say, what could I have done better? How did I say this that it didn't feel right for you? It was just such different styles of communication that I had never had before. If you are someone of a healthy person, then you are going to really want that emotional connection with another person, and you can't have emotional connection with anyone unless those things like communication are there, vulnerability are there, empathy are there. Like, you have to be able to like let someone in, and they have to be able to let you in. And when you're dealing with people who are narcissistic, you're just dealing with surface level relationships because they don't want you to see them. They don't want to expose themselves to anyone. They can't expose vulnerability and weakness. Are you kidding me? Like, they're not going to be able to own their stuff and work through it and take responsibility for it. Not going to happen. So if you want emotional intimacy, which leads to great physical intimacy as well, and all those other deeper connections, these things have to be there in the relationship. I can't stress enough just how you feel when you are with someone. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care the situation. If you're going through some drama, if you're going through a difficult time, if you had a happy day, if you're doing nothing on the couch, if you're doing a lot of things together that are really difficult, whatever it is, when you feel like yourself, when you feel there's literally no judgment, that you could be the hottest mess alive. And I don't mean sick or looking like crap or anything. You could just be so not yourself. You could just be going through such difficulties for both of you, and their person doesn't even miss a beat. They are just there to support you the way the family member did or your best friend did that one time. Like, the people in your life that you can really count on, the way that those people have loved you and have been there for you and supported you, and that's the reason why they're in your life. That's really the same outline that you're looking for in a romantic partner. You're just obviously looking for physical intimacy. That's really the only difference. So I can't stress enough just how important it is for you to feel calm and content when you are with the right person. I know for me personally, I realized just how that person was absolutely not right for me. And there was definitely a time where I had wished so badly that that person was right for me, and that's what I wanted and all those things. But when I started getting more into reality and facing reality, I had to be honest with myself that that person actually wasn't, and that's okay. And I think that really also helped me to let go of any resentment or anger or bitterness, was because I realized I was actually given an opportunity to find the person that was right for me, and that this person actually did me a favor. So that's why I always tell you guys, if you have gone through a discard, if you have gone through someone leaving you or cheating or just divorcing you or whatever, they 100% did you a favor. I know you may not feel it right now, but when you start doing that work on yourself and you start feeling good and you start rebuilding, and then you get better than what you even thought than what you had, that's when you can sit here and say that. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm going to the store now to return this rug. So I hope you guys are well, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.